Welcome to this new video. Today we're talking about how to stop explaining and proving yourself. Not sure if this is going to be the name of the video. It might be how to stop wasting your energy. Might have talked about a similar topic. I feel like there's a different extension to this today. And I would say this is actually one of the hardest things that are so easy to do. It's a big paradox, okay? It's one of the hardest things on a self-healing journey, which actually are one of the easiest to do and have such a great impact with tiny little steps. And this, I encourage you to look at this inside your reality, especially if you ever feel out of breath, out of energy, drained, just tired, actually. Because it's okay to be tired after a empowering day and where you have you're tired but boosted at the same time. Okay, this is what we want. But what we don't want is to feel tired and drained and exhausted. And actually, it doesn't at all, the amount of how exhausted you're gonna be doesn't correspond to how much you're gonna be giving in terms of time, in terms of actual minutes. Okay, so because I'm sure you will find yourself seeing, or you can compare for yourself a situation, let's say example situation where you've had a call with someone or you have a conversation with someone that was very short, let's say 1 hour, considering, and then after that conversation you feel like you've just given more out of yourself and you haven't received back, and this can drain you and this can stay with you for days, that 1 hour of a conversation. Okay, it can drain you, and this is where it's gonna be showing you what's no longer aligned with you. Simple as that. But if that is a topic for you, it's gonna be triggering you. It's gonna be overly triggering you until it cleanses all it needs to cleanse, and until it guides you to that action it needed to guide you to. Or the second scenario, but there are more scenarios, it's not just two scenarios. It can be completely neutral. It can be very aligned with you, but not overstimulating, let's say. But then again, there can be a same length conversation, 1 hour, and then it guides you to or the result from this conversation is gonna be like weeks of boost and incredibleness, and you're like overflowing with energy, and it's gonna be like extremely empowering, and you're gonna be like, wow, yeah, this is so inspiring. And I would say the balanced state is going to be the alignment, where you give and receive at sort of the same pace, where the places equalize, the positions of where you're at equalize. And this is something I will recommend you to look for in terms of like collaborations and partnerships and relationships and friends. This is what you will want to achieve, which will in the end, in the bigger picture, give you most satisfaction, are gonna be relationships where you feel like you're giving and receiving at more or less the same rate. Okay, every single, and you can see this on every single conversation actually, which this is the part where this is the hard part of the easy part, because the hard part is becoming honest with ourselves, that after that 1 hour of conversation with whoever, you're either gonna be extremely drained or you're gonna be extremely tired, angry, whatever. or after that same conversation you're going to be extremely boosted and like over empowered and maybe even too much high up the top, or you're gonna be somewhere in the middle, like, yeah, this is good, like I felt like, wow, that was really great, and at the same time, oh, what's next? I'm gonna be maintaining that form of balance. Okay, because this is what helps us to equilibrate the highs and lows. And this is gonna be helping you to create a community and a supportive circle, I would say, of people surrounding you that then in the long term are gonna be a healthy foundation to wherever you're heading. Because wherever you're heading needs to, if you want to be aligned to where you are and where you're heading, you need to always be aligned and surrounded by those that are aligned with this, unfortunately. And this is where the hard part is the part where we need to be honest with ourselves. Is this aligned, or not yet sure, or not aligned? But where the frustrating part comes is where we actually want more. We want more energy, for example. We want more of new things coming up. We want to manifest more. But what we don't do and what we're not honest about with ourselves is closing the doors of what doesn't work anymore. Saying no to what's not aligned anymore. And this is where it becomes so tricky, but the way out is so easy, and that is in stopping doing all of it. That's basically taking a step back and not doing and just being there. And this can be in terms of your everyday day. It can be canceling one thing, one segment that you would usually do, and seeing the story of what's behind it, especially those that you really don't want to do. Because it's easy to stop doing what you don't want to be doing and do only what you want to be doing. But if we're in a net of things that we feel like we must and we have to, because who else will do them for us? We need to break it down. We really need to take small steps, because our nervous system and even our reality wouldn't maybe be even ready for these big changes. We're not ready to make such grand adjustments. Sometimes we are, sometimes the situation exaggerates itself into like a huge explosion, and you have to, I don't know, end that relationship, you have to take that trip, you have to do a radical decision. But this, we're talking more on a daily basis on how to slowly and gently towards yourself and to your nervous system readjust your reality, and how to invite into your reality more of what you want, and how to let go of the things that you don't want anymore. Okay, and we waste so much energy and we create so much tension in our body by explaining ourselves to others and by doing what we don't want. And then we're so surprised, why is there pain? Why is there chronic pain? Why is there this unease? Why is there this uncomfortableness? But whenever you're doing something you don't want to be doing, whenever, then you're saying no to yourself and you are draining that energy. And whenever you feel like, oh, I really need more energy, I'm like done, I'm like so tired, I can't keep going like this, then you can't, you shouldn't, and you should start saying no. But we don't want that, because the ego doesn't want that. The ego thinks one thing that is impossible, and the ego thinks we can satisfy others. The ego thinks we came here to save others. The ego thinks we can control the situation. And this is what creates the uncomfortableness and the tension and the unease in the body. When we think we're capable of something we have no control over and we're not here for even. And understanding ourselves and how we have it, this helps us significantly. And slowly breaking down your day and seeing, is this actually what I want to be doing right now? And it must be the smallest things, because the smallest things add up the bigger picture. And as I was talking in one of my previous videos about everything matters, this is kind of what I mean, because even the slightest adjustment in what's not aligned brings a lot of clarity. Okay, closing that door that has almost been closed, but really closing it now and leaving it behind, that is what cracks open that new door. That is what then brings that awareness, that realization. But until we're willing to stop doing and stop having those old patterns, which are usually based in fear, and they're victim patterns, they're like, they speak in your head, they're gonna be speaking, well, who's gonna do that for me? No one else gonna pay my bills, no one's gonna pay my rent, no one's gonna do that for me. I have to do that because no one else will. I have to do that because no one else will. This is control. Always control. And there's always another way. And if you're saying there's only one way things can be done, this is you closing that door for yourself, closing that opportunity for yourself. Whenever you are clinging onto, this is just the way I have to do it, I have to meet up with that person because out of respect, out of expectation, I have to keep in touch with that friend because what would they think if I said I don't want to be seeing them anymore? And whatever stories you're telling yourself, whatever have tos you have there, whatever shoulds, whatever must, are actually draining such a large amount of your energy that if you actually knew how much, because we love to lie to ourselves, we love to say, well, it's not so bad. It's not like it's so bad. It could be worse. This is what we tell ourselves a lot. It could be worse. But if we only knew, and we only know that once we go forward on the self-healing journey, once we become more honest with ourselves, once we build the trust with ourselves, once we build some kind of comfortableness, once we understand what we like, what we don't like, once we understand what triggers our pain, what doesn't, only at those levels we understand, wow, of course it wasn't working before because we were so disconnected, and of course it wasn't working because it was actually draining such a large amount of my energy that now I would never even go into that. And this is the adjustment, slow adjustment of the boundaries. But you will be surprised how saying no to the little things that you really don't want to do, for example, for me it was vacuuming was one of them. I say this as a good example because what I say, once we close the door, doesn't mean it can't reopen. Because probably what is the tension behind it is some sort of memory, some sort of core bad experience that you have associated either with that person or with that characteristic of that person or with vacuuming in itself. Maybe it's just loud and you don't like it. Okay. And once you release that block, okay, I don't have to do it. And let's think about how could I not do it and it will be done at the same time. And this might even spark the joy that it will release all that tension. And you will suddenly shift towards loving to do what you used to hate to do. Okay, this is how we can readjust relationships and cleanse them and cleanse ourselves. But we honestly waste so much energy trying to fit in, trying to make someone satisfied, trying to explain what we're doing, trying to prove ourselves. But actually, what we're doing, we're explaining our own existence. We're explaining just the way we are. We are explaining something we can't change anything about. We're explaining our worth, which isn't a thing you need to be explaining. And only going forward and slowly adjusting yourself from saying, okay, not like this. I can do it a bit differently, and I can see maybe only visiting that possibility. Is this true? Is this really true that no one in the whole world has it the way I wish I had it instead of the way I have it right now? Because whenever you say, and I hear this often, I love an example of paying rent or bills. Whenever you say, because there was one thing I manifested, I made a strong decision. Okay, I'm not paying rent anymore. I'm just gonna see a different way. And magically, to my biggest surprise, I manifested that. For example, you can manifest really anything you want. And I love that I have come across some people, well, no one's gonna do that for me, and that were still in the victim mode where I used to be, where I thought, well, I have to pay rent. Of course I do. There's no other way. But there's so many other ways, honestly. And so just by clinging onto that idea, the way I'm doing it is the only way. You're actually limiting yourself from all the infinite other possibilities that there are. And the infinite possibilities doesn't mean the second possibility, because we usually see this or that. But there can be another infinity of possibilities that will be so aligned with you that you would have never imagined. And life has this amazing way of surprising you and presenting you with a way that you never knew was even possible. You never knew was possible for you. And the way of opening yourself to is really taking a step back and revisiting, is this really what I have to be doing when it's draining my energy? So first looking for, okay, where do I waste my energy? Where do I feel after I'm done it extremely tired or extremely drained, and not even corresponding to the amount of time I spent on it? Because if you spend 10 minutes vacuuming and then you're angry for the next 2 weeks, as an example, and I think I had it like this in the worst stages, there's something wrong. It's not equilibrated. And today I have no problem vacuuming once in a while. Let's not push it. But I have released whatever there was, that story I was telling myself. And you can actually do this to any topic of your life. But if you're doing, I need to repeat this because it's good to repeat this. If you're doing something and it's extremely something you don't want to do, and you're doing it just because you think you have to, that would be the place to start. Because if it's draining you excessively, then that is something you need to adjust. And you can just do this in the level of your mind. You can just do this by visiting it and saying, wow, do I really, really have to do this? Or is there another way? And allow the answer to come to you, and you might be surprised as to the magic that starts happening, as to the possibilities of how else it can be done. Maybe not aligned with you, but how else? And as soon as we bring this up to our mind, This is where the synchronicities start happening. As soon as we tell our mind, does it really have to be like this? Just asking. I'm just asking. And then in that instant, you're gonna start seeing people that have it differently. You're gonna come across that book that talks a lot about it, or just a different approach, and then based on this you can explore what approach could you have, because maybe what comes across isn't the aligned way, maybe it exactly is, but by exploring, wow, is there another way, but is there, and questioning everything you've learned so far and shifting that into that joyfulness, into that playfulness, into that, well, I'm just curious, just asking myself, is there another way? And trust me, makes a huge, huge difference. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. I have 2 invites for you. One, my pain relief podcast on Spotify. Make sure to check it out. There will be new episodes. 2, individual pain coaching. And you can write to my email that's in the description box below. Sessions start at 77 euros per 90 minutes. And it is a lot about the one-on-one connection, going deep and looking straight into where your pain is originating. So it's not this general that I have in these daily videos anymore, but it's going straight to the point, where I wish I had this guidance in the beginning of my journey of what I had to learn, and now I'm offering just to point you at that right direction, give you the downloads that maybe you don't even want to hear, because at first, if it's something we can't hear, it's like behind our eyes and might be uncomfortable. Never promising it will be great, but what it brings is great and brings you a lot ahead and can speed up that self-healing journey, can speed up that self-healing process. Only go into this if it resonates with you and it calls you. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.